JBN, we keep you informed. Coming up in the news, 2 in custody for lottery scam related offences. 3 shot, 1 fatally in Spanish Town. Man in hospital on the police guard following shootout in Tivoli Gardens. McNeil wants Zoso declared in his constituency. Brothers sentenced to 49 years for killing Clarendon man 12 years ago. JCF to review protocols concerning missing persons. And U.S. Coast Guard seized drugs worth US $13.5 million in the Caribbean. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items. 2 in custody for lottery scam-related offences. A St. James man has been arrested and charged for possession of identity information with intent. He is Jermaine Brown, 32, also called Jailbud, of Montego West Village in the parish. In addition, the police say a woman has been taken into custody on reasonable suspicion of possession of an access device. The 2 were reportedly apprehended during a series of operations conducted by the Lottery Scam Task Force in Montego West Village and adjoining communities in St. James on Thursday. The police report that 1 cellular phone and several Microsoft Excel documents with identity information for persons residing overseas were found during a search of a premises occupied by Brown. A court date is still being arranged for Brown, the police said. The Lottery Scam Task Force reports the woman was found in possession of a Bank of America Visa debit card during a search of premises at Leaders Avenue. According to the police, she was arrested after she was unable to give satisfactory account of how she obtained the card. 3 shot, 1 fatally in Spanish Town. The Spanish Town police are probing a deadly attack in the old capital on Thursday, in which 3 persons were shot, 1 fatally by gunmen. The dead man has been identified as 20-year-old Shamar Smith, a resident of St. John's Road. It is reported that about 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon, 2 armed men invaded a house along St. John's Road and opened gunfire on the occupants. Smith and 2 other men sustained bullet wounds. The 20-year-old was pronounced dead on the scene, while the injured men were taken to the hospital. Investigators say they suspect that a gang feud led to the attack. Man in hospital on the police guard following shootout in Tivoli Gardens. A man is now in hospital on the police guard following a reported gun battle between the police and the gunmen in Tivoli Gardens, West Kingston on Thursday. The suspect has been admitted in serious condition. A firearm was also seized in the incident. It's reported that about 2 o'clock Thursday morning, members of a police team were on foot patrol in Tivoli Gardens in the vicinity of the Bustamante Highway when they came upon 2 armed men who opened gunfire at them. The police said the cops returned the fire and one of the suspects was found suffering from gunshot wounds with a firearm beside him. They say it was a Glock pistol loaded with 9 rounds of ammunition. Personnel from the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, were reportedly unable to visit the location due to gunfire in the area. McNeil wants Zoso declared in his constituency. Another opposition member of parliament has called for a zone of special operations, Zoso, to be declared in his constituency. Zoso, one of the anti-crime measures employed by the security forces, seeks to contain criminality in a specific geographic location while promoting community development through social intervention initiatives. The latest came from Dr. Wickham McNeil, Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland, days after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced in Parliament that the government is ready to declare more communities zones of special operations. McNeil, in a statement yesterday, said urgent implementation of a zone of special operations in his constituency would help to stem the crime wave that has been rocking communities in the western section of the parish. He says the need for Zoso is self-evident and suggested that anti-crime measures be implemented without delay as lives are at risk on account of wanton criminality. With the promise of more Zosos to come, it is imperative that Western Westmoreland is considered, as clearly there is need for a concentrated effort by the security forces and other stakeholders to get things under some semblance of control, said McNeil, adding that the social programs that come with Zoso are well needed in the affected areas. Immediately after Holness' announcement on Tuesday, Opposition Member of Parliament for St. James Southern, Derek Kellier, made an urgent appeal for a Zoso to be declared in the community of Greater Cambridge. Brothers sentenced to 49 years for killing Clarendon man 12 years ago. Two brothers who invaded a Clarendon home and repeatedly shot another man nearly 12 years ago have each been sentenced to over 20 years in prison. Lennox Brysden has been sentenced to 27 years at hard labor, while Paul Brysden received a 22-year prison sentence. Chief Justice Brian Sykes, who handed down the sentences in the Home Circuit Court recently, ordered that both men must serve 10 years before they become eligible for parole. The Brysden brothers were convicted in January for the November 2007 killing of Richard Allen. Prosecutors Andrea Martin Swaby and Okita Da Silva led evidence during the week-long trial that around 7:30 a.m. on November 19, 2007, the Brysden brothers were among three men who invaded Allen's home. The third man, identified only as Paul, was subsequently shot and killed. According to an eyewitness who was 16 years old at the time, Allen was lying in a back room at the house when Lennox Brysden, Paul Brysden, and Paul barged in, all carrying handguns. The woman said she heard a loud explosion and rushed to the room. She said she saw the Brysden brothers standing at the entrance to Allen's room. The woman said Lennox Brysden pointed his gun at Allen and fired several times. She said Allen fell to the ground and Lennox Brysden went over him and continued firing before all three escaped on foot. JCF to review protocols concerning missing persons. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson has said instructions have been given for a review of the Jamaica Constabulary Force's response mechanism and protocols concerning missing persons. He said the aim is to ensure that the response is in keeping with international best practices for the safe recovery of missing persons. This was outlined Thursday night in a statement from Major Anderson. News of the review comes in the wake of allegations that the police did not respond in a timely manner to the missing person report for 80-year-old Shante Skyers, who was found murdered in Stirling Castle Heights, St. Andrew on Tuesday. Major Anderson said, in the event that someone goes missing, persons should immediately make a report to the nearest police station. The commissioner said the police have maintained contact with Shantae's family via her grandmother, who has been the primary contact since she first made the missing persons report. The police officers who found Shantae's body are receiving counseling. MID takes over Shante Skyers murder investigation. The Major Investigation Division, MID, has taken over the investigation into the abduction and murder of 8-year-old Shante Skyers. This was disclosed on Friday by Superintendent Leighton Gray, acting commander of the St. Andrew North Police Division. Two men are now in custody in connection with the murder. Shante, who was a student of Red Hills Primary School, was found dead on Tuesday 5 days after she went missing while walking home from school. She had sustained wounds to the head. Superintendent Gray said MID investigators are also probing the mob killing of 27-year-old Miguel Williams, a resident of the Stirling Castle Heights community. Mr. Williams was accused of having information on Shantae's murder. He was beaten and set on fire by the mob. His house was also set ablaze. The police say no one has been held in connection with his murder. The police on Thursday held a meeting with the residents of Stirling Castle Heights following the mob killing. Other stakeholders such as the Peace Management Initiative, PMI, and political representatives were also present. U.S. Coast Guard seized drugs worth US $13.5 million in the Caribbean. The United States Coast Guard says it has seized nearly 970 pounds of cocaine and 550 pounds of marijuana worth an estimated US $13.5 million in the Caribbean Sea. It said the drugs were seized off the coast of Jamaica, Haiti, and Colombia and represented three separate cases involving suspected drug smuggling vessels. The U.S. Coast Guard said the cutter Raymond Evans was responsible for one case, seizing an estimated 550 pounds of marijuana, and that the cutter Spencer was involved in the seizure of 970 pounds of cocaine off the coast of Colombia. This was our first deployment outside of the Florida Straits in 18 months, and I'm extremely proud of my crew for the work they did over the past few weeks to make this patrol successful, said Lieutenant Patrick Frost, commanding officer of the cutter Raymond Evans. It was exciting to exercise the capabilities of the fast response cutter in the Caribbean counter-drug narcotics mission, and we are honored to have played a part in the first drug interdiction for Raymond Evans, he added. The U.S. Coast Guard said the interdiction completed by the Cutter Raymond Evans crew was part of a recent interagency operation to increase intelligence and targeting capabilities in order to disrupt criminal organizations in the Caribbean Sea and secure approaches to the U.S. along the southern border. The Cutter Raymond Evans crew collaborated with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security components to interdict suspected drug smugglers off the coast of Jamaica, the U.S. Coast Guard said. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.